Okay, so let's start from here. This is likely what you would see, very similar to what you would see if you were logged into your cellular core. I don't care if it's Nokia or Druid or whatever. You're going to see a list of a bunch of identifiers that are crazy and hard to read. And this is, I think, what's important to understand contextually is that this is the view you have if you don't have OneLayer. Subscriber IDs, SIM card IDs, profiles, IP assignment functions. It's all just garble. It's very hard to understand what this is. And the chances of you doing things right, given 15 plus digit identifiers, is potentially quite low. If I want to activate a new SIM, I'm going to see a list of all the SIMs that are available in the core that are provisioned, and I have to choose the ones that I need to activate and go through that process. If I want to deactivate a SIM, I'm going to have to go through a list of active SIMs and make sure I pick the right one and don't turn off that really critical device. Also kind of problematic. So we have a view of what's happening in the core from this perspective because it's a part of what we do and what we need to understand anyway. But what we instead choose to view is devices from a more zoomed out view, from a device aware view. And so here you can see a much more friendly option. Hey, I've got some routers, some dongles, some handheld scanners, some laptops, some mobile phones, etc. If I want to drill in, I can say, show me all the cellular routers. And now I have a list of all the cellular routers on my network, and this looks way more user-friendly. Surprise, surprise. I can see who made it, what model is it, what IP address does it have have devices connected behind it? And so here is an example, this GE Orbit router. It has one device connected behind it. Let's take a look at this guy. We can now see the kind of information we're surfacing is quite detailed. And I want to call out a few specific things here. One, this is the modem that's inside this GE Orbit router. It's a Sierra Wireless AirPrime modem. This is what you would get from a GSMA DB lookup. You'd get AirPrime MC7354B. That's not super helpful. Because of our overlay, our ability to understand what this is, we're able to call it what it truly is, a GE MDS orbit. You can see we also have all the related information, the subscriber ID, the SIM card ID. We can see what mobile network it's connected to. In this case, it's US Cellular, but it could be your private LTE network. We see the APN it's on, the IP address assigned. We also see information because we integrate with this brand of routers, information about the router. What firmware is it running, current GPS location, temperature, stuff like that. And then at the bottom, I can give you historical state of affairs, what's been going on. In this case, we see the connected devices change. The MAC addresses have shifted over time. What's connected behind it? It roamed from one cell to another cell. So I have not just a point in time picture like I would typically get from a cellular core, but a historical view of what's been going on. And when has it been online versus offline? And when has it been active over the last 24 hours or all the way out to the last 30 days? So this gives me a picture as an admin of this device and what it's doing in the world.
So Ryan, so besides the IMI, couldn't you use the IMSI for identification of the device as well?
You can kind of. So the IMSI is, I want to correctly explain the three components and how they link together. So the IMSI identifies the subscriber inside the core. So it's the core's record of who is this account belong to. That IMSI is then tied to an ICC ID, which is the SIM card. They're linked together in the system, in the core. That SIM card then gets installed either as an eSIM or a physical SIM or whatever into a device, and that's the IMEI component. So this is the triad of things. You can certainly do everything by IMSI. That's what the carriers do, but it leaves you blind to what's connecting to my network, the device.
All right. And everything
that
you've just shown us is pulling from the core?
Yes, most this information here would come from the router, but this information is all coming from the core, and the historical data is us saving those changes over time. Often the core does not maintain a history the way that we're showing you here.
Does your dashboard offer the ability to see like a topology of what's connected to what or what's talking to what?
Sure.
Sweet.
Yep.
Big topology button. Nice.
Yes,
segue.
and this is actually surprisingly useful because from an ops perspective, if you come in here and you see that there's no devices connected to radio 1 and a ton of devices connected to the radios around it, like that's a problem. Maybe there's something wrong with this radio that's preventing devices from connecting. So it's not just like a visualization view, it's actually helpful as a troubleshooting tool. We can also do location views. So where are all my devices on a GPS map? So you can kind of choose to do it that way as well.
And then the wired device behind, like if it's a PLC controller or a Windows machine or whatever, where are you getting that? Oh, devices 1 right there. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So here's a D-Link access point. That sounds terrifying to me, but yeah. So that's the idea here is we're polling the router again using SNMP, SSH, netconf, whatever that router supports, see what's connected behind it. Here we see the MAC address and we've identified that as a D-Link device. And we show the IP address it has on the network as well.
Now, I guess since you put a D-Link AP behind a cellular device, will you be able to see the devices behind that D-Link access point if it's in NAT mode or anything like that? That's a no. Go.
No,
Okay.
no, that's beyond the scope.
Beyond the scope. Okay.
So how real time is this?
Quite.
All data.
That's a very generic statement.
It's not instantaneous, but we're not like 10 minutes lagged. We're like a few seconds behind.
But it's mostly polling through SNMP you mentioned? Or are you doing telemetry?
This information? You're talking about the connected devices?
Kind of any of it. So the topology tab, for example, you know, that's
This is coming from the core itself. So this is real-time event-based data. Device attaches, device detaches, all of that event-based data is in real time. We don't on the hidden devices thing, you're right. We're not polling once a second to see, you know, this router, what's behind it. That's a less frequent update, but the cellular information is basically real time.
Can you assign descriptors to these? So instead of just seeing what model it is, you can see it's, 8th Street router or something like that, or site 10 or.
There you go. Custom property.
Yep.
Yeah.
Site tags.
Yep.
Gotcha.
So you can
And on
edit,
the
you can create
topology view, can you click on the clients that are showing up in the topology view and get deeper information? Okay. Great.
So the other thing I wanted to show you here, you guys are asking questions and you're getting me off my talk track and I don't like it. The other thing I want to show you here is that we do have a history of the traffic for this device as well. So we can see what is it connecting to on the cellular network or off the cellular network. Does this one have an example? Yeah, here's like an IP address that it reached out to. And we show you the payload size of that as well. So this is a way of, you can see what is this talking to. You can look at that on your own time whenever you want. So that's all linked back to the device information here. And you can also see a history of what has this device been up to. Let's see if we have anything relevant here. Full activity log for this.
Are there any
there's only 4 things here,
geofencing
but-
capabilities? Are there any geofencing capabilities for like policy or alerting or things that shouldn't be moving that are moving?
100% there are. So I'm just checking my notes here to make sure that I've covered everything I wanted to cover from the first part of the demo, because that's the second part. Let me just see. Full history, Yeah. Okay. So, okay, this is the observability part of the demo. So I'm going to pivot now. We'll talk about the insights part of the demo. How do we take action? So if we take a look, for example, at device logs, this is conceptually what you would get out of the core, is a stream of like events that are happening without any context. And I gave you already a device view of this context, but you can imagine if you've got a network with any more than, a dozen devices on it, this log is going to be just like spewing stuff out of control all the time. This got a new IP address. This went to a new cell. This came online. This went offline. Changed APN from 1 to 2, changed APN from 2 to 1. Hey, whatever, right? Tons of events. How do you make sense of that? And so this is where we can start to apply some of the context. And so what our monitoring capability does is apply some of that behavioral analysis that we talked about before. So here's some examples of the stuff that are possible today, more coming, you can see. But, did a device move? Did a non-cellular device move from one cellular router to another? Or was a device replaced behind the cellular router? Maybe the location, to your geofencing question, maybe the location changed. And maybe this is a capacitor bank that's supposed to be associated with this. That would be bad. That should not move. Maybe there's a new device behind the router I didn't know about, or a SIM gets swapped, or an unpermitted manufacturer. This is super common in highly regulated industries. Think mission critical, like pipelines or electrical distribution, where they're not allowed to have, for example, a Huawei modem. It's unpermitted. So if a Huawei device shows up on the network, they want to know. And so these are the kinds of detections that we do. And what that generates is events on the network. So here you can see device migrated between cellular routers, and we can click on the details and we can see, hey, this was the device, this ThinkPad. It was connected to this Hitachi router. Now it's connected to this Aprisa router. This is the details on each of these devices, and here's when that happened. I can show you in this UI, but as you can imagine, this is also going to the SIM where someone else can look at it. I'll show you a couple of other examples here. Let's look at unpermitted manufacturer. So here's an example of an unpermitted manufacturer situation. I'm sorry to any Samsung users. We pick random stuff for the lab, but here's an example of a Samsung that joined the network, and that was an unpermitted manufacturer alert. We also potentially can show you things like, where is the other one I wanted to show you?
Is this all this data collected via API or an SNMP pull? How do you integrate with the cores?
We're integrating in various ways depending on the core manufacturer. So Ericsson, for example, has this event-based model where it's like essentially like a webhook. It's way less advanced than a webhook, but they're like feeding us a stream of stuff, and we can just kind of pick out the events that we want. Druid, by comparison, is an API-driven model, so we pull from them as opposed to it being a push. Nokia is different again, and even within Nokia, different between the kinds of cores. So like their mid-size is different than their enterprise class. So all kinds of different stuff. It just depends on the core.
And then lastly, how does AI fit into this? You're literally the only vendor has not mentioned AI or MCP in this entire presentation.
Cool, AI and MCP. No. As I said before, we have a ton of data here, and we think it's super interesting, especially if we think about this logging data that we're pulling in. Is this device flopping between cells all the time? Is it going online, offline too much? Is it failing to attach? It's like trying, once every 30 seconds to attach and failing. There's tons of information that we have here in our system that LLMs, AI, have the ability to improve the customer's operational context for. And we're absolutely going to do that. We are working with a lot of conservative folks. The folks who are deploying private cellular in the first wave tend to be mission critical environments. And they're not like number one on the list waving the AI flag of like, hey, cool, I want AI stuff. But we believe there's value, and we're going to do it in a way that respects the data, but gives them operational value. And like I said, we've done a few proofs of concept of manually feeding customer data into an LLM with their blessing for the purpose of solving issues or learning, gaining insights. And they've been very positive and very successful.
Well, Ryan, thank you very much. I think the dashboard made a lot of more sense to me, and I wish you had shown this earlier in your presentation. That would have saved us a lot of wondering, trying to figure out.
That's fair. I appreciate the feedback.